What's the lesson, Master?
Live. Or die.
In episode 5, Ahsoka falls to the world between worlds, where she meets her master Anakin, who's not done with her training. He has one last lesson to teach her, to live or die. Was it really all that simple? What did Ahsoka learn in the world between worlds? What does Dave Filoni want us to take away? Go ahead and dive in with me to find out.
What's the lesson, Master?
Live. Or die.
I'm not a Star Wars expert here, and I'm not going to drag this along. Her lesson is that she's given the choice to live or die. And what's interesting is Ahsoka's already died. However, she was saved by Ezra in the world between worlds. He pulled her out of the fight with Vader. And Ahsoka's a character who's clearly haunted by the choices of others. Baylan says as much in the previous episode.
Your legacy, like your master's, was one of death and destruction.
Could this journey through the world between worlds represent Ahsoka making the choice for herself to live and step out of the shadow of Anakin? I think that's the whole point of this episode and her interaction with Anakin. Dave Filoni wants us to see that Ahsoka is the anti-Anakin. Throughout her journey, we see that Ahsoka is tired of fighting. She wants being a Jedi to mean more than being just a warrior. At one point, she asks Anakin,
"What if I want to stop fighting?"
He replies,
Then you'll die.
So throughout the episode, Anakin continues to show that you need to become this warrior. I'm doing this so you need to survive. In order to survive, you need to fight. But is Anakin right? More on that later. But I think this lesson, it's not simply about living or dying. It's about choosing dark or light. And Ahsoka knows this. And at times, she's shown some of that darkness, choosing darkness. She throws Shin against the rock when she sees her and thinks that she's killed Sabine. Not a Jedi move. So later in the episode, she meets Anakin again at the Siege of Mandalore. Anakin is proud now of what he sees, but Ahsoka's clearly still looking for more. And this scene in particular, I love how it was framed and shot as Anakin is telling her that within her will be everything I am. We see mass destruction happening in front of them. You know, what we're seeing is exactly what Baylan referred to. The legacy of Anakin and Ahsoka is one of death and destruction, and it's just mass carnage that's going on in front of them. Ahsoka's response to this is challenging, wanting to be a part of a legacy that's just death and war. Anakin sees it as something more because he's something more, and she challenges him, yeah, you are. You're more powerful and dangerous than we thought, which triggers Anakin's anger and their final fight, one in which Anakin is now clearly more towards the dark than the light in this fight between the two. And ultimately, it's a fight that Ahsoka wins. She chooses to stop fighting and live.
choose to live.
And her choices are in direct contrast with what we know about Anakin. Anakin was someone who wouldn't stop fighting for the things he cared about and turned to the dark side to save them.
I have the power to save the one you love. You must choose.
This choice to keep fighting leads to the death of Anakin and the birth of Darth Vader.
It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground. You underestimate my power. Don't try it.
Ahsoka is the anti-Anakin who has chosen to stop fighting so she can live. So when she returns from the world between worlds, she wakes up from the darkness and she's clothed in white. The opposite of Darth Vader, right? The opposite of what Anakin would become. Darkness, light, black, white. Opposites. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out with the rest of the show. I mean, we know Thrawn is coming and he'll have to be fought, but could Ahsoka maybe find a way to stop fighting with Baylan and Shin and bring them back to the side of light? I don't know about you, but I'm curious to find out.